on another note, right now, containers just skyrocketed again. So
Yeah.
we're paying like $4,000 for a
worse.
container. Now they're at 10,000. There's another increase coming, and it sucks.
Stop. Especially Google reviews. You're destroying people's companies, bro. Seriously, stop.
One thing
For
that I will
what-
say is like it's very different for everybody. So
Yeah.
what might work for you might not work for somebody else. We have codes that if people want to try the tires, we'll give you a cheap set on your first order.
Nice.
So that way they could, compare it and just put them on the same set that you put on whatever other tire you want to run and, put them side by side.
See how you doing the pressure. Yeah, I've been wanting this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Hey. Yeah. Ain't no errors, baby, it's a new era. I wake up early feeling rich like I'm Kesha. I get to the paper, boy.
Welcome back to the #1 Drift podcast on YouTube, presented by Injuku Racing. My name is Dawson, and today we have...
Luis Lanz.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so that's how you say your name.
Yeah.
All right. That sounds way better than, like, the American version of saying it.
Yeah, so it's funny because people ask me, it's like, how do you say your name? I'm like, I don't know, man. Just say Luis or Luis. It doesn't matter. Like, it's fine.
I have too much, like, my southern accent kicks in, and it's Louis Lanz.
Yeah,
It just sounds real fucking weird. Anyways, sorry. Good way to start it off, I guess. Before we get into the episode, though, of course, look below the video. Make sure that subscribe button is not still red. If it is, click that and hit the bell notification while you're at it so you never miss a single episode. And remember, too, if I mentioned last episode that if you wanted to be on the podcast, you can always email me. Yes, you can do that. But also the outro for the podcast, if you do want to be the highlight of it, it's very simple to enter. I know there's been a lot of newer subscribers and stuff coming in recently. So if you do want to, all you have to do is post a reel. Obviously, it's got to be drift related, but just tag me in it. That's literally it. The one with the most views each week will be the highlight. So yeah, do that. And of course, we will probably talk about parts and stuff in this episode, and most of them you can normally find on Injuku. So always check the link in the description if you need anything like that. And yeah, as you said, Lewis. So if you kind of want to give a more in-depth introduction on who you are, what you do, and all that.
Yeah, so my name is Luis Lanz, like I said. I think I said it differently this time, probably.
Yeah, southern.
So yeah, I've been drifting for about 5 years, and I'm currently driving Prospect, and I love it. It's what I do, my night and day nowadays. So
Oh yeah.
having fun with it.
Okay, so I want to I've never seen it anywhere written, so I wanted to clear it up. First question. Do you run the Zeknova US? Is that do you own the company for the US?
Yeah, so as of now, I am the main and only U.S. distributor.
Okay. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I
Love
wish I
that.
could own the company and the manufacturer and
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
but it's kind of like, it's been on for a
Cool.
while.
Only
so.
distributor. That's pretty wild.
Yeah. It was something that just recently happened. I mean, Zeknova has had a rough seas in the U.S.
Mhm.
And I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but the way I came into it was through some rough patches. So yeah,
We'll get into all that.
Yeah, I guess we'll
Yeah,
get
I'm
into
sure.
that. Yeah.
Well, cool. That's still cool though, because Zeknova I used to see all the time back in the Turismo drift days. I don't know if were you.
I'm not familiar with
that.
it.
Okay,
no.
well that was a Nashville thing.
Okay.
So that was Human Rahimi. He
Okay.
ran it, and it was very big in 2018, 17-ish. I think is when it was. But it stopped. But you would see almost every car out there with Zeknova
Tires and
tires, logos, and all that stuff. Yeah. So never really saw it until recently with you. So that's why I was curious. If,
Yeah, and I'm
the
curious-
situation was.
Yeah, I know. A bunch of people have told me, oh no, if there's been issues in the past, I just know the one that I came in through, but I
Yeah.
don't know the ones prior to that.
Gotcha.
But I mean, I'm here to do my best to try for that not to happen again, and just keep the tires around because we definitely need them in the community.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
For sure.
And I've actually just recently been doing some stuff with Volino. I had never tried their tires for the most part, not on my personal cars or anything, but pleasantly surprised, and they're like kind of in the same boat. They're very small in the U.S., so I enjoy that. I like to see the smaller tire companies, especially venturing over from Japan. That's really cool.
Yeah, definitely.
But-
I mean, and it's something like the more companies out there, the lower the prices will be, right? You know,
True,
like, so
true.
it's
Hey, there we go.
yeah, yeah.
Buy the tires. The more we can get in and sell, the cheaper they get.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Competition, right?
Yeah. The good old U.S. Okay. So you've got to be like the first person on the podcast that has consistently owned a Corvette for like, I would say probably majority of your adult life, right?
Yeah. I think.
The amount of Corvettes I saw on your Instagram account was wild. So
Yeah, dude. I think my first vet, I got it like when I was like 22, 23. And it was-
Really?
yeah, like it was just because I couldn't afford one before that, you know. It was
Oh,
like,
okay.
of course, I always wanted something. I actually, growing up, it was like a Viper was like, man, I just wanted that car so bad. But again, Vipers are still way more expensive.
Oh,
So
God, yeah.
Corvette was like, my stepstone from a 350Z, I went to a Corvette.
Well, didn't
was
you
it.
used to do like grip driving in a Corvette?
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff too.
Yeah,
So you mean the first drift Corvette?
Well, the first Corvette ever I had, way before I was drifting. So,
Oh wow.
yeah, like this was, I don't know, man, 2012, 2013, something
Oh,
like that.
okay,
Yeah, like
okay, that
way
makes more
back
sense.
in the
Yeah.
day.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Confused.
Sorry,
for a
I
second.
might have taken your question differently.
No, you're good. You're good.
But yeah, the first Corvette that I got was, so I started with a 370Z, like back in 2019.
Yeah.
And within like 8 months that I was actually driving it properly and I wanted more power, I looked into, you know, how much it was to let's swap my 370Z.
What every 350Z owner goes through, yeah.
Yeah. And I've had vets before, and I was like, the problem back then was like nobody really was drifting them, so it was very hard to get parts and stuff. The only one was Matt Field, and
Yeah.
so I was like, you know what? It's a car that I've been driving for my whole life, and I'll just jump on a vet. And it was like,
Yeah.
it was awesome because the grip and how fast it was from like one to the next, it was just amazing. And as soon as I got the car, I'm not sure if you're familiar with them, but stock angle, it's like
Trash.
you can't
Yeah.
slide it.
It's not worth it.
Yeah. So yeah, I did what everybody says, like, you know, I got the car and I put an angle kit on it right away. On this,
Yeah.
but I already been driven.
I've
the seat.
always said for a Corvette, you kind of
have
have
to.
to. Like,
Yeah.
there's no trying it and achieving very much with the stock angle. So
For sure. And if you're starting to drift and your Corvette is the first car and you can't link a track on stock angle, it's like, it's fine, dude. Like, you're
Yeah.
not gonna make it. It's
everyone's
like...
gonna understand, bro. I swear.
Yeah. So yeah, I got the vet, and it's funny because I had from my other vet that I was doing grip racing with, I had like 340, 345, all triple A's, like R888s, like really grippy tires. And that's the first thing that I drifted the vet with.
Oh Christ.
And dude, like the grip on that thing was like coming from like a, you know, the 370Z that I was running 265s, like cheap tires on it. And I put this thing on that. It was like, oh my God. Like, this is like,
you gotta stay in this motherfucker. What's happening?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, the back in the day though, so what did you grip drive as a Corvette? Was it the C6?
I had
C7?
so the first time that I started grip driving, I was on, well, back in the day, I was doing autocross on a Ford Focus.
Hey,
I was like,
there you go. Hell yeah.
That's my first car. And then I jumped into a 350Z, and I started dabbling too with Subarus, like WRX, STI.
Okay.
But when I actually was doing like circuit racing back in 2022, that was like legit doing circuit. It was a C5 Corvette. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Why did you choose, or I guess, why did you end up in that chassis after going through all of the other chassis and autocross and everything else?
So when I decided to actually do like real competition racing, you need to
about grip driving, by the way.
yeah, or like grip. No, yeah, like competition grip driving or road racing,
Yeah.
as some call it. I needed to build a race car. Like all the other cars that I had were more of like a street track thing, but you need a full cage, fuel cell, like everything.
Yeah.
And I wanted a C6 really bad, but so the season was like coming up, and when I was like, okay, I got the money put together, I'm gonna jump on and do this next year.
Yeah.
Which was in 21. I started like, I know I have to build a car and do some practices so I can go all in for the 22 season. So I got that like at the beginning of 21 because it's what I found as a good deal.
Oh, nice.
Mostly built.
Yeah.
But you know how it is. You buy a built race car and you end up doing most of it again.
Changing a bunch of shit.
Yeah. So, I mean, I got the car and then we went to Daytona for a NASA race. And it was like my first ever by myself competitive race. Because before that, I did like far and stuff, but it was for teams. So I was driving. It wasn't my car. It was a car that was already being driven.
Oh, okay.
And it was already set up and I just arrive and drive. So it was like my own car, my own team. And by team, it was just me and Vince, the guy that I'm always with.
Yeah.
And so we went in and we started at so I hadn't driven Daytona in like 5 years. And obviously we weren't going to do good during qualifying. So we started like in the back of a pack. Mm-hmm. And within like 5 laps, I ended up in like second place.
No
so
shit.
We're like freaking out and we're like, you know,
that's awesome.
Like, dude, I can't believe this. And we're fighting for first. And then towards like the end, it was like 2-3 laps left. Like the slave cylinder like gave out.
Oh shit!
So I was like, no. And then all I could do was just like keep it in like 5th gear. Because if I shift, like I had to shift without a clutch. So it's like through Daytona, that makes you extremely slow because it's a really fast track, and then you have slow corners. So the last 2 or 3 laps, we were on 5th gear. We ended up we didn't end up last. But definitely we lost the race because of that. Yeah. But that was like, it lit my fire, man. It was like I'm doing this. Because when I did that race, it was just like, let's see, we'll go for the 22 season, just have some fun and stuff.
Yeah.
But when we ended up
that glimmer of hope.
Yeah,
dog.
Dude, it was like
second place, what the fuck?
Yeah, dude, I was like, I'm all in, man. We're doing all in next year. Like, we're going to go to win this championship, whatever it takes, we have to do it.
Yeah.
And yeah, dude, so we got the car and it was like, okay, tranny, diff out, everything, send it out to RPM, get those rebuilt so it's like nice and fresh. Mm-hmm. And we rebuilt the motor too, just because one of the main things about road racing, or it's even in drifting, it's like you have to have a reliable car. If that happens, you're screwed.
Shit, any motorsports.
Yeah. So that's something that I knew for a fact. So I'm like, okay, the whole drivetrain comes out and we're going over it and send it out. We have to have the most reliable car that we can, so we can make it in this thing. And yeah, that's how I ended up on grid racing all throughout 22.
That's crazy. Did you ever end up winning?
I won that championship. Yeah.
Sick, dude. That's fuck yeah.
Yeah, dude. It was so awesome because I always see people on TV and like guys driving and stuff, and it's like, man, I wish I could do that for fun, but I never thought that I could actually win it. It was like...
Yeah, it always seemed like so unattainable.
So unattainable, yeah, for sure. Same as when I first started, because I've been doing instructing for 8 years or something before I actually went to race.
Nice.
So it was... I know I could, set decent lap times, but I didn't think I could set good lap times with people and fight for positions and actually do decent.
Yeah.
Which was like, man, I wish I could do both. I wish I could be drifting and grid racing.
Spike that confidence level way up after that.
Yeah, for sure. It was so awesome. 22 was a good year. Like getting on podiums back to back, it was amazing. I never thought I was capable of doing that, and being able to do it was just another level. Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. We're speaking to a lot of people out there, I'm sure, that feel that same way right now.
Yeah, dude, it's like you never know until you try it, right? Like it's one of those things. And even if you try it and fail, like that first race, we ended up in second place, but we ended up last because something happened to the car. But it's one of those things, like it's just glimpses of hopes that you get that just it's
make it all worth it.
It fuels that fire, man, and you just go all in for it.
Life sucks anyways, so would you rather be doing something you like? I don't know. Yeah. But okay, so the grip racing stuff, did that ever do you think it helped you when it came to learning how to drift?
Oh, 100%.
In what way?
So when I've always watched drifting and thought it was super cool and pulled my handbrake a bunch of times on my Focus.
Oh God!
And it's funny because I crashed that car with my wife in it. At the time, she was my girlfriend.
Shit.
Like,
Yeah.
just leaving the house, you know, for some reason, I was like, I'm going to see what I can do on this thing. Pulled it, went over a curb, you know, bent a couple of things.
It's always fun.
Yeah. But, so, I was doing autocross, but you don't really, like, get to slide the car, especially on a Focus. You're more, like, sliding the front end, you know?
Yeah.
But, so, once I started doing the 350Z and doing track days and whatnot, you know, the tail always comes out when you're doing it wrong. You know, when you make a mistake, the tail comes out and you catch it. And it's one of those things that I started driving. And I will watch a lot of footage from Senna, like Ayrton Senna. Back in his day, he would use that as a way of being able to churn better. You know, it's kind of like offset the car so the tail starts sliding out a little bit, but you're not really sliding. You're just helping it to, you know, get that. He will do that a lot on go-karts and stuff. So I will always try to copy that. And obviously, I'm not even close to as good as Senna, so my tail will always come out more.
Yeah.
But I think it helped me on being a better grip driving. And as I was doing the instructing and stuff, so in grip racing, you do track days. If you're an instructor, you get free track time.
That's cool.
So I was there all the time, like every single time that I could, I would be there because it was like I just had to help some guy out, and then I would get to drive for free. And I went cross country with an organization too, like so I got to drive a bunch of different tracks around the US.
That's wild. Hell
and I would just get to the airport, land, and just rent a Camaro or Camaros were the best. And hopefully nobody that's
fuck 'em.
But
those cars are long gone, probably now,
dude,
destroyed.
Yeah, the Camaros were better than the Mustangs in terms of like braking and shifting for track days.
That's
so
cool.
It was funny because you could book cars in different like Avis, Hertz, like all these different things without paying, and then I will get to the lot. And then just go through every car, see which one had the least mileage, the better tires. And so once I will find, okay, this is my Camaro. So I will go to the thing, okay, let me get the one that's on E22, like that one. That's the one that I want to get. So yeah, rent that for like a couple days, go do the track days. Drove so much. Since it was in my car and it was just like lap after lap after lap, it was amazing. Like that's where I got the most seat time ever. Damn, I lost where I was going.
You're good.
So yeah, what was the original question? I have really bad ADD, by the way.
Oh no, you're good. Just how road racing helped me learning drifting and stuff.
Yeah, so it definitely. I was doing a lot of track days, and not on the rentals that I was doing outside, but on my own cars when we were back home that I was driving Homestead and whatnot. So you're not allowed to drift in track days. Like it's not something that you're allowed to. But the corners worker already knew me, so I'll be like, whenever the tires were gone, I'll be like, hey, you know, I'm gonna do a couple of sliding laps, just so you know, don't black flag me. So all right, all cool. So yeah, whenever my tires were gone, it was just the last lap will be drift lap all throughout.
That's funny.
So that's like it. Definitely, I always wanted to drift, but I wasn't too familiar of how to get into it. And it's always been so like I would be at PBIR almost like every weekend.
Yeah.
And I never heard of US Drift or any of the drifting events. And I was in the industry in a way because I was, grip racing.
Right.
But it was so like, it didn't exist. Like I didn't know how to
separated.
Go into drifting. I definitely wanted to do it, but it wasn't like, you wouldn't see like, it's happening or anything. At least not in the track. Like I will see guys doing stuff in the street and stuff. And that's how I originally found out about US Drift Circuit. It was a guy that I was with a Subaru club back in the day, and then he got out of it, and I saw he got a 350Z, and then he was drifting. Mm-hmm. But I never actually saw like track drifting until some day that he posted a video, and I'm like, and he's drifting at PBIR, and I'm like, how come they let you do that? Like, what is it?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's an event, go on the US Drift Circuit side, and you can just join. I'm like, what? You can do that? So,
shoot.
Yeah.
What year was that?
That was like around 2019.
Okay.
Yeah, 2018, 2019.
Too long ago, I guess.
Yeah. So right there and then, I'm like, I looked up the site. I saw that they do the events. I started looking for 350s and 370s, and that's when I found my Z, bought it, and like within a week, welded the diff and went to the first event.
Nice.
It was like, yeah.
Well, before we dive into that, I had a thought on the grip racing thing. So you mentioned that people will use the whole like drifting and kind of sliding, kicking the rear end out to help the turn. So whenever you see videos of a driver like cutting the turn a little bit too much on the rumble strips, because the rumble strips are raised a little bit, so and it kind of like kicks the car up in the air and loosens up the rear suspension. Do people do that on purpose to loosen the rear end up and kick it out a little bit?
So I'm not sure how many people drive like that on purpose. I've been a Senna fan for like my whole life, so I kind of want to like mimic that.
Yeah.
But I can't do it. Like I can't do that on purpose to do a better turn every single time.
Mhm.
But it's something that I will dabble with and try to learn and try to do it, obviously.
So it is like an actual technique.
It's
that people
definitely a
use?
technique. Now, how many people do it in the world for that? I'm not sure how how many people do it, because it has to be so subtle. It has to be so like,
Yeah.
perfectly executed every single time. And personally, I can't do it. I can't execute that every single time. I could try every single lap, and I might be able to do it for a lap. But it's definitely it depends on the track too, on every turn, and
True.
it's more of like tighter turns that you can try to do that. But for the most part, I guess I would try whenever I was behind somebody and I was trying to get that better run out on them.
Yeah.
But for me to try it on every single lap, I will mess up, and it'll be worse. It'll be more
Gotcha.
like I have to do it on like I'm behind somebody. I want to try to go for this pass on this next corner. I'm going to try to do it on this corner. So if it comes out good, I'll have a better exit speed, which will catch him on the straight or something like that.
Set you up a little better.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. See, yeah, like I just don't know anything about grip racing, so, but I've always seen people do that a lot. Whether they do it on purpose or not, I don't know, but I've always wondered if that was like a legit technique that people can use.
So the rumble strip, I definitely can picture what you're talking about. And I think most of the times that you see the car like lifting up it's just like that's the fastest line. It doesn't really, it's not necessarily setting up, I would think. Like obviously it depends on the track. But that whenever you can cut that corner, that's always the fastest line. That's
Gotcha.
like,
Dude, I've got to try it one day. Something. I like, dude, and it's really cool to see because with Nate Hamilton, how he's doing like the Rush Series stuff now, those little like glorified go-karts.
Yeah.
Those things look nuts for one, but like to see a drifter go to a road racing sport while still doing drifting is really kind of unique. Obviously, like a bunch of influencers have dabbled and done it, but it's not. He's like doing it. Do you ever kind of see yourself bringing the whole grip racing thing back into the program?
Oh, definitely, man. That's like my main goal.
Oh, really?
No, I mean, okay, not the main goal, but it's definitely high up there on the priority list. Like, I wish I could be on the track every single day of my life. It doesn't matter if I'm drifting, racing, like, I mean, I would even go change tires for F1 teams if I had to, but it's definitely, like my main goal. If I can own a track and be at a track all day long, that's it. That's like my top priority, like for sure.
That's crazy. Okay. What series would you run with your program?
So
would you do the grid life stuff or like?
Yeah, like grid life sounds fun and something that you could do, at the same time as drifting.
Mm-hmm.
But now with drifting, it's like obviously that's my main priority now. That's what I'm involved in, and that's what I have to do 100% of my time. Even though I did take my C5 like a couple of weeks ago to Sebring to test out some of the Segnovas on grip driving, just to see how it is. Because I've got a lot of people. There's a lot of guys in Puerto Rico that hit me up and they say that they're amazing. But I personally never driven them grip myself.
Gotcha.
So I was like, I got to try this out because it might be, an opportunity to offer the tires to guys that are doing grip. So I was so happy that I was back on grip. Like I felt that like I forgot even though it's been just like a year and a half of not driving grip, but I felt like, man, I suck now.
I lost my mojo.
Yeah.
Oh.
But something that it's like riding a bike, you get it back and just get setting lap times. But then the C5 was like cutting off. I couldn't do a full clean lap. It was
Oh,
shutting
that
off
sucks.
at the back straight on Sebring, right before turn 17, the one where the what do you call this, the most popular turn on
Yeah.
Sebring, the one that
Yeah.
they drift under, the bridge.
Yeah.
It was
Gotcha.
shutting off on that back straight every single lap, so I couldn't get a clean lap to actually compare the lap times to what I was running. Like on 22, I was running Hancocks, but more or less they're like really good. Like I was very happy of how good the car felt on the tires.
That's good.
So we're definitely gonna be back, and depending on how things go, I definitely want to go. I'll probably do like NASA just because that's what I want on, and I know the people, and I feel like it'll be a good entry point for the tire, for people to see what the tire can do, and that it's a competitive tire.
Gotcha. That'd be good. Yeah, I'll open up a whole new market for that.
For sure.
Jeez. So has anybody else given you any input on those other than that one guy in Puerto Rico?
It's a couple of guys in Puerto Rico. I've seen online. There's a couple of guys that drive on it, but not very, not much. Most of the people are using for drifting, and it's a very grippy tire that I think it'll do very well on grip
Gotcha.
racing.
Actually, I should have asked this earlier, but what is like the average amount of laps you would get out of a Zec Nova? Let's just say for like a 400 wheel LS setup.
Man, it's such a
I know
tough
that's harder to
question.
say because chassis grip and all sorts of stuff.
And it's like, so for example, me and
Or
my
just you
Corvette-
personally.
Yeah, like, so for example, me and my Corvette, if I loosen up the rear and just put zero toe and no dynamic or anything, man, I will do laps, and obviously keeping your right foot, conservative. I could do laps forever, but as soon as I dial in the grip and, do a proper lap, you kill them. So it's like, it's really hard to say. And I get feedback. I always ask people how the tire life is and whatnot. And for the most part, people say like an OSW, like a 300 horsepower car will do like endless laps on one day.
Yeah.
But then I've also have guys like, oh no, I kill them after like 10, 12 laps. So it's so broad, like, 'cause it's like the same horsepower, but it just depends on how you drive at the end of the day,
Yeah.
So I've done testing, but I feel like I shouldn't be doing or saying what the tires do myself, because I feel like, oh man, you're
It's like
biased.
counterintuitive
Yeah,
almost.
or like, you're biased. Come on, like, whatever I
Yeah.
say doesn't matter. I just really tell people like, dude, grab the tires and
We'll do this then. All of you that are watching that have ran those tires, you put them in the description or in the comment section, and like y'all can do the math down there.
Yeah.
And figure it out.
One thing
For
that I will
what-
say is like, it's
yeah.
very different for everybody. So
Yeah.
what might work for you might not work for somebody else. And we have codes that if people want to try the tires, we'll give you a cheap set on your first order.
Nice.
So that way they could, compare it and just put them on the same set that you put on whatever other tire you want to run, and, put them side by side. At the end of the day, I feel like your cost per lap is very important, and it
Absolutely,
really
yeah.
depends on where that tire warehouse is. So that's why when I started the whole Signova thing, I knew we need to have tires like at every coast that we can. And so as of now, we have like Vegas, Texas, Tampa, South Florida, and Chicago is coming up next, and then Denver. So if you're close to those warehouses, you're gonna have like the best deal ever, because the shipping is what kills the price of the tire. That's really like, and my end goal with the whole Signova thing is like, I started drifting and I know how hard it is and how expensive it is. So I definitely want people to have access to a good grippy tire and not break
Absolutely.
the bank. It's
Yeah.
it's definitely the main goal for the company, and everybody that is working with me now, we're on the same page. We want to be able to like help guys out.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's like the main thing in terms of like tires.
That's crazy. Yeah, I agree though on what you said with the like the amount of laps. It's very hard to say because even after I tried the Valinos a couple weekends ago, I got asked several times afterwards, and like you sit there like stuttering and shit too because you're like I mean, well, if I do, hold on, give me a second, and then you try and do like all this math and stuff, and you're like, well, I mean, just put it this way, just 300 something horsepower. I got 13-ish solid laps, but I run a decent amount of grip. I don't know. Like, how do you explain that?
That's why everybody that asks me, it's like, dude, you have to do it yourself. And so you have like the Facebook page of tire reviews and stuff.
I was just about to bring that up, dude. Oh my, I hate that page so much because it's so broad.
Yeah. And everybody's different, you know. Some tires might work for you and it might not work for somebody else. So
yeah,
I try to not say like, you know, the Signovas are the best and just go get them because whatever I say is like, oh, dude, you sell them, so you want people to go run them. So I try to stay away from that. And also, I don't want to say something and then it doesn't work for you. It might be different for you.
Yeah,
but
mad.
Yeah, but
don't you think that's gonna happen? Like, anyways, though.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's kind of like credibility is very like important for me, so I don't want to be saying stuff that not necessarily is not true, but it just might not be the same for you. So yeah, that's why I said, you know, just try them out and see definitely how it works for you. Obviously, it's very different.
Well, you make it very obtainable because you said the first time you buy them, you get a good discount.
Yeah, for sure. And it's, you know, another thing, like whatever I say doesn't matter, but if you go back to what happened and how I came to be the distributor for Signova, I'm all in with it, you know. It's not like I'm not just gonna grab a tire and be like, dude, I'm gonna do everything for this tire if it's not something that I truly believe in and I personally feel like it's the best drift tire that you can get out there. But yeah, so you know, I came into this trying to when I started drifting, I obviously try to get, you know, lower price tires, and I hit up, you know, same thing, hit up companies like, come on, I'm doing this, I'm showcasing, you know, every single time I go to an event. And I feel like a lot of big companies, you know, not answer to that. And it kind of hurts in a way that every single person that's out there drifting, they're spending a lot of money to be there and they're putting on a show for people, which automatically, even though might not be a good return on investment on that specific person because maybe he doesn't have the following or whatnot, but they're still out there and they're still doing something for the products that they're running.
Right.
So I feel every single person that's drifting and that's out there and is doing that, they need to get a little something to help them out. Because at the end of the day, apart from the drifting companies that obviously they just have to sell for the drifting public.
Yeah.
But tire manufacturers and everything else, your main customer base is on the street, you know, like the spectators that are watching this. So that was my main thing when I went in to it. It's like, I want to help all the small guys out. You know, same thing at like companies that I hit up that they were like, you know, left me on red. I'll try to get everybody in. You know, if you want to drive our tires and promote and help us grow the brand, you're going to be part of the team. Like, I'm definitely going to help you out and give you some kind of discount. It doesn't matter what your what your social media is or whatnot. Because I was there. I was one of you. Like, I know what you're going through. And so it's like my main goal for Signova. I want to be able to have companies see what we're doing and try to duplicate it. Because the drifting community definitely needs it. You know, we put a lot of money and blood and sweat into it.
Especially with all the tariffs and stuff on the tires that have come into play in the recent years, dude. Tires are freaking expensive.
Yeah, and on another note, right now containers just skyrocketed again. So we're paying like $4,000 for a container. Now they're at $10,000. So there's another increase coming, and it sucks. But you know, it's
how much do you think that'll? Because so if people were to pay attention to that stuff themselves, what would that price jump in a container equate to, say, to like the most sold tire?
So if you
price difference.
if you do let's do a simple math. Let's say containers were 4,000, now they're 10,000, so that's 6,000. You fit around 700 to 800 tires in a container, so it's like 6,000 divided by 750. That's $8 a tire that it's increasing as of now. Without
And that's your cost.
That's cost. Yeah, that's just shipping costs. So imagine just a container went up in price.
Yeah.
So it's just
he's not saying the tire costs $8. Don't you dare fucking think that,
bro. I wish you think.
Yeah, right. That'd be crazy.
I'll be giving them away. It's like you get a tire, you get a tire.
Right. Giving away truckloads at events.
Yeah, dude. But that's $8 cost per tire from right now in July compared to April. You know,
Damn.
So from April to July, a tire cost more or less went up $8. Like,
wow.
On cost, you know, some companies try to keep it and not increase it.
Yeah.
We are doing that. I'm trying to like not increase the price. So, because it kind of sucks. I just started it and then, this guy, you know, he's already got a bunch of people driving on them and now he's increasing the price.
Well, that's why I wanted to ask too, because like nobody really understands the whole back end of the tire world and how they get here and just all the nonsense that goes into it. So, does that $8 equate, like if you were, say you can't make that happen and you have to raise the price of the tire, would that $8 almost directly reflect what the up in price would be, or would it be like say $6 more in price?
So it should. So it cuts the profit of the tire, right? Like let's say you're to make it simple. Let's say you're selling a tire for $100.
Yeah.
And you're getting them for $90. Let's say that your cost ready to ship is $90. So if now your cost is, you know, your shipping cost is $8 more, now the tire costs you $98.
Yeah, now you
so your profit just went from 10 to 2.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely like it sucks, you know, like $8 when you add it up, it's a bunch. But so we, you know, try to eat it, try to like. We might have add an extra $5 just to ease it in, hoping that the container prices go back down. It's just so many variables, man. It's things like, not only that, I know manufacturers are struggling because the price of like rubber is going up. So it's not just
every little detail of
it. So that also equates for the raw material,
the metal
right?
in your tire.
Yeah, the raw material, you know. Same way the moving those tires once they're done is increasing the cost. So is the rubber, the metal. They all have to be shipped. The container, everything goes in a container. So it's not like, the factory is made in the mining field right next to the rubber and the steel and everything. So it's all correlates with each other. So that $8 cost on shipping, it's not necessarily just 8. It actually becomes like maybe like 12 because of everything else that happens on the back end that we don't even get to see. So yeah, I'm definitely expecting an increase on the manufacturing.
Wild,
but they're the same way as us. You know, we might have some old stock and that's still at the old price. So we try to like ease it in. So increasing the price little by little. But it's just the economy, man. It's what's happening. And like everything is just going up. It's
God bless. Tires. Fucking tires. Dude, actually, if you're wrenching on your car right now and barely listening to any of that, go back. Go re-listen to all of that because that's very important information. That so many people complain and bitch about tire prices, but they just refuse to look into it and why.
And it's something that we're definitely fighting against. Like, I am subsidizing the distribution of tires through other companies.
Yeah.
So the reason that why our prices are the way they are and they're not more expensive is because of that. It's not like we don't have a warehouse where it's like Nova pays for the warehouse, you know.
Yeah.
I run the tires through other businesses. So our overhead is much lower and that's where we're able to get the prices that the guys are paying for the prices as of now.
Awesome.
So yeah, and we get complaints of like, oh man, you know, why don't you guys do like $80 tires and whatnot? It's like, dude, like it's not possible. Like,
yeah, it just doesn't work.
We don't even pay that much.
I don't know how the hell Tire Streets does it, but we can't.
Yeah, it's like, you know, it's rough. Like, and I feel like I really don't know how they do it. It has to be old stock. Like it's just not sustainable.
Yeah.
You know, or it's kind of like, you know how you also, when you have stock and it's just holding up your profit, or not your profits, but you have money there.
Your money
just
flow,
like
yeah.
you need flow. So I definitely think they take a hit whenever they do those. You know, like it's
Got
just,
to,
they have to.
yeah.
It's just like not sustainable. It's
No.
something like if you
I
got
mean, it
'em-
works for brand recognition by all
Oh,
means.
yeah,
Like
for sure.
it works really well, but
for sure.
I'm just curious how the back end of every detail of that works. So, if you want to explain the story of how you fell into the Zeknova thing, you can.
Yeah.
If
So-
not, if there's some details you want to leave out, by all
Yeah, no,
means, leave
it's
out.
very
If you
public-
accidentally say something,
Yeah.
just tell the camera to cut that part.
Yeah, no,
Weird.
it's public. I actually, if you go on the Segnova US Instagram, if you go all the way down, it's a podcast me explaining everything that happened.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's
Cool.
just like it's very long. But long story short, there was a guy that was running it last year on 23. He was the main US distributor.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, he ended up stealing from a bunch of people that placed orders, myself included. Actually, I think I was the biggest loss. It was like $74,000 that
Holy
of tires that I
shit,
ordered
dude.
that we lost, that I'm still paying for because it was a line of credit. But
Oh.
whatever, you know, it's that's what got me to be here, and I think things happen for a reason, and it's one of those things like I feel it's gonna help me help the community in a way of like having another tire brand and trying to keep the prices low for everybody.
Yeah.
So, you know, it happened, and it was a container that I purchased, and he basically never delivered. But because of that, you know, I had like all the proof and stuff. I was able to contact the manufacturer directly, so they recognized it, and the dude ran away. Like he just disappeared. We have 2 lawsuits against him. We won actually both lawsuits, so we have judgments against him. But
Damn.
nobody knows where he's at, and it's one of those things. Like it sucks that
That's
somebody like that
crazy.
will come into the community and like do that, because I wasn't the only one that got pinched by him. There was a bunch of
Yeah.
guys that ordered tires and not. But
Why this community? Like we're fucking poor. Like
Dude.
there's not even that much money to take. Like you
It's-
risk your entire life for I would guess a total of maybe 200 grand probably
I
that he stole out maybe.
probably did. Probably.
Like your whole life is worth 200 grand. You're nuts.
And the
dude.
worst thing is like
Go
after
rob a bank instead, bro.
it's not the first time he does something like this. We started doing research and stuff, and we found out he used to do party, not hosting but promoting. Like,
Oh, okay.
Party promoters
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff like in California, and he dinged a bunch of people in that industry too. So it seems like it's something that he does throughout the years, because this happened like way back when you search what happened, like his name, there's a bunch of people in forums. Remember back in the day when you go
Oh,
through
yeah.
forums and stuff?
Yeah.
So that's where people are writing about it.
That's crazy.
And it's funny because obviously before I went into investing that kind of money on, because I was trying to bring tires to South Florida for, you know, competition, and I won the Pro-Am series because of the tires. Like it was,
yeah.
you know, it's what made me get to where I'm at, because that's what I started running last year for that competition. But when we started researching him, before I ordered the first set of tires, I asked a couple of people in the community. Duarte, I asked him to, it's like, you know this guy? It's like, I don't know him, but let me find out. Like, some people said, no, he was fine. Like he actually had the tires and he was delivering. Okay, so I ordered like my first batch. It was like 100 and something tires. Those sold out. So I wanted to buy more. But it will always be like, oh no, we don't have enough. Like it's sold out. Like we have more coming in. So that's when I'm like, look, let me get a container, because I know I'm gonna sell them, and my boys in Florida are gonna love me because we're gonna get a much better price, and I'm gonna use them. And that's when I got dinged. It's like,
Damn,
it was
dude.
like he probably saw that. It's like, yeah, that's it. This is my
This
where
is
I'm
my
getting
chance,
it.
yeah. Fuck, man, that
yeah.
sucks. Well, so okay then, how did you going through that? How do you not hold, I guess, some type of resentment towards the company itself, and like how do you not do that? And instead, you ended up working for them.
So
Because I'm with you on what you did, like 100%.
yeah,
That's what I
yeah,
would have
it's
done,
funny
but I'm
because
just want
yeah, a lot of people
for
feel the
the
same way. And
explanation.
like honestly, dude, I have gotten screwed up in my life so many times.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it just happens. I don't really see the bad in people before I see the good in a way.
Hmm.
So I know that the company, the manufacturers, it's not their fault that this
Right.
guy, he was a company like any other company out there that, made a contract and was supposed to go buy it. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like the same way if I sell somebody tires and then they go and make a, sell and then not deliver,
Yeah.
as much as
Yeah.
it sucks for the end party, I I can't really do much about it other than the same thing, lawsuits and stuff. But at the end of the
Right.
day, that's like it takes years for anything to happen, if
Mhm.
anything happens. So yeah, it's one of those things like I saw what happened and I think at the end of the day it's because I believe in the product so much that it wasn't just like I'm gonna blast the product and make them go bankrupt or whatever.
Exactly.
It
Yeah.
was more like, man, I want Prime because of those tires. I'm just gonna go and try to make the best of it. Like
That's awesome.
it is what it is. Like double down and just
Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of when you're at the casino and lose everything and just like go for the credit card and then all it. No,
Well, we're already here.
Yeah.
We gotta win it back now.
It's funny because I'm in a group chat of like gambler addicts, and they're like, you only lose when you stop playing.
You only lose when you quit, dog.
Yeah,
I'm
you only
gonna
lose
tell
when you quit. But no,
Jeez.
I mean, obviously, I think this was a better choice in terms of like we have the distribution and it's gonna do more good than harm. And at least if it doesn't do good enough, we might prevent somebody else from doing something like that.
Right, right. I just think it's very important to point out because I've been a big advocate of like stop going to the reviews, stop going to publicly blasting companies for small issues, especially if it has to do with like suspension components and stuff because half the time you didn't install it right or something. Dude, I just hate that people immediately want to take it to the company that sold the part as the responsibility for why everything is wrong, and it's not. Like there's other people that are involved within the company for one that could be the issue or an outside source. So like I think it's cool that you took something that was extremely bad for one. You lost a lot of fucking money and then made a whole new opportunity out of it that seems to be good. Seems to be like it's doing great. I think that's highly important for other people to see and take note of because stop, especially Google reviews. You're destroying people's companies, bro. Seriously, stop.
It's I think it's human nature, dude. It's one of those things you always try to put the blame on somebody else.
Yeah.
You don't want to be
You just want something to be mad at.
yeah, or you don't want to be the reason you mess up, like, and I do
Oh,
that
yeah.
myself. I mess up and I try to put the blame on it, but like I already have my script written back there.
Yes.
Stop it. Like
Stop,
go back to
motherfucker,
see
you're
what
being
you
a
did.
bitch.
Yeah. Go
You're
back
the
to see what
dumb
you
fuck.
did and see how you make. Same thing, dude. I lost this money, but it's absolutely my fault because I should have betted this guy better. If I would have actually researched more in depth, like going to his previous addresses and whatnot, I would have found that post on the forums back in the day, and I would not have gone through that purchase. So, look, like I said, man, yeah, he stole it, but it's absolutely my fault because I didn't do that. And it's something that I've been doing throughout my whole life. And even though you might get hot-headed at first, like just hold on,
Absolutely, yeah.
wait a day, think it through, see how you can make it better. Same as with parts, dude. If you get something that doesn't work for you or that it's bad and you absolutely know that it's bad, you just found a business opportunity. You can make it better, add on to it, or, do something better yourself.
Yeah.
And there you go. You're going to be making money out of it.
Dude,
now.
he just dropped like a bombshell for you guys. Every time you've contemplated being mad at a company because of a lower control arm that doesn't quite fit right or whatever, maybe reach out and be like, hey, noticed this when I was installing it. Is it my fault or is it your fault? If it's your fault, I think it needs to go this way a little bit or whatever the fuck needs to change. You just help them. Maybe they offer you a sponsorship or something, or maybe you ask for one and they're like, you know what? That's a good fucking idea. That's amazing. That's
or even you
good
can even
info,
go
dude.
further. If they don't do anything about it, just go hire a cat dude. Make it better.
Do it better, yeah.
Like, dude, you have like nowadays you have so much accessibility.
Hit me
for
up.
Everything.
I know a cat guy. I got you.
You have so much accessibility for everything, man. It's so many. There's so many opportunities in the world. I think it's just a matter of working hard for whatever you want to do. You know.
Yeah.
I think that's it. You work hard at something and you're gonna make it happen. Even if it's not that, it might lead you to something else that will.
Yeah. Never know what's behind the door, damn it. Hell yeah. Okay. Well, we'll move on from that. If you want to hear the whole full story, send me the link to that and I'll
Okay.
put it in the description.
Cool.
That way you guys can go watch the full thing after this podcast. After. Yeah. So I guess when everything came to drifting, what was your initial like shock of like, this is something that I have to do? Because I know you spoke about a little bit like when you first got into drifting and what car it was and all that. But what about drifting grabbed your attention initially?
Tokyo Drift. No, I'm kidding.
Dude, literally everyone says that. Wouldn't surprise me.
No, I mean, I got into it because of the fun and how free you feel when you drift. When you're grip racing, you're trying to go for that time, trying to set that time.
Yeah.
It's like drifting felt like a revel. Of like,
Where did you first see it though? Like, what was your first time ever seeing drifting or even recognizing what it was?
Okay, so I'm gonna say Tokyo Drift, but I don't think that's it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure before that, because when did Tokyo Drift come out? Like, what was that? Like 2000?
Early 2000s.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's a toughie. I try, like, my hard drive is like burning.
Like,
right
yeah,
now.
I mean, obviously, as much as you want to say drifting is not, or Tokyo Drift was not
Right.
the opener, it was for a lot of people just
Yeah.
because of how early it was within the sport. You just never saw it.
So-
Like, obviously, you had, like, the dad that would rip the e-brake when it was snowing or some shit, and that's what you considered drifting, but...
Yeah, my dad would. He used to work at a dealership, and they would give him like demo cars, and he had a Mustang once, and he would just
Oh, gosh.
tail slide a little bit.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's cool, Dad. But so it might be. You remember when I mentioned Nopi and Hulk Hogan's kid? I don't know if that was before Tokyo Drift or after. So that might have been my first time
That makes sense. Okay.
actually seeing
Someone will
it.
correct you in the comments.
Yeah, that would be cool. I actually want to know, and if I don't have to do the research, even better.
Hey, you just gotta wait a week.
Yeah. I'll probably research it.
First thing he does when he gets in the car.
Yeah. So that's cool. It's cool that you bring that back because I saw it was so fun, and it was about the same. Dude, it's so funny because that reminds me. It was like when like the week after I met my wife. It was a girl that I met within a couple of days.
Nice.
So,
yeah.
So it just reminded me, and like then we started going out after that. But because I remember asking a buddy of mine, it's like, oh, do you know this girl? Trying to get some feedback and stuff. So it's so funny that all that is coming back, and I'm so glad I met her because now she's my wife, and it's been awesome.
Yeah. Well, did you have any more on?
No,
the topic,
I think it was then. It was like either Nopi or Tokyo Drift.
Okay.
We'll see.
Well, cool. Hell yeah. Well, was there anything that like held you from starting drifting sooner? Like, did you ever wish you started sooner or regret it in any way?
Not regret. Obviously, I would love to be drifting sooner. It's just I was a high school kid. There's no way I could have like afford not even like
I mean, true,
close
yeah.
to it. It was like, and even later on. So it's something that I always try to tell people like, and companies will hate me for this, but if you're digging yourself in a hole for you to go drifting, don't. Like a financial hole. Like there's no. Dude, the chances of you making it in this industry are so little.
Mm-hmm.
But you can still do stuff without spending money. There's tons of teams out there, dude. FD teams that need help. And I feel like obviously sucks to work for free,
Mhm.
but personally, I wouldn't call it work because you're doing if you really love it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a set stone that you can put on yourself. Be like, okay, I could either run the credit card and spend a bunch of money to be able to go drift this weekend and then having to deal with it later to pay it. Or you can dial it back. Let's go out to the track, hit up these teams to see if they need help. Sometimes they'll even pay for your trip to go there, you know, help them out, like, you know, in terms of like flights or whatnot.
Yeah.
But if you're not willing to sacrifice that and get you out there to be at the track because it's what you love, you do not have the willingness to go through everything that a drifter is going through nowadays to be able to make it. So it's something that, okay, you can think about it. And if you're willing to do that, you'll be willing to do that. And then you can come back to me and be like, oh, no, but if I have the willingness to work hard to make able to pay for that money that I just spent to go drifting. It's like, sure, but how long can you do that for? Because drifting is extremely expensive. So yeah, it's one of those things like there's a lot of things that you can do. And another thing that I want to point out, you always should try to look for opportunities everywhere. And being out there working for teams, that is something that it's an idea that could pop in your head at a round or something. Or even if it's not
put you in front of the right person.
Yeah, for sure.
Even if it's how many people are at FD.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Even if it's your local track that you go help out one of the other guys that are drifting, you know, he's going to thank you so much, and it could lead to other things. So if you want to be in the sport and you don't have the means to it yet, dude, just go all in, learn everything that you can. Use your free time to learn it and be something about it that people will need, either your services or you come up with something that you can do. There's tons of opportunities out there. You just got to go out them and find them.
Yeah.
For sure.
What would you say is the most obtainable position as far as like helping a team? Let's just go with that. Like, what would you say is the most obtainable to get your foot in the door?
I would say like organizer, dude. That's like,
or how do you mean?
Like rigs are a mess all the time. You know, like
like kind of like a floater guy that just kind of helps
like help out
here and there.
You know, you're gonna be there. You're gonna be for the show. Actually, you have less. Well, what do you say this? You have less responsibilities because the only thing that you gotta do is organize stuff. You know,
True.
You know, keep things. It's something like I feel if I was like when I was in high school or starting out, oh my God, I would have loved to do that. Like it would have been like I would have done it for free. you know? Like it makes but yeah, like that's the easiest. Like you don't need any type of skill or whatnot. You don't even need to know how to change a tire. Yeah, and teams need that so bad. Like it's personally for my team, like I need it so bad. It's so hard to keep everything like organized and nice and neat, or picking up at the end. You know what? Something that
what you're saying is you're looking for a guy.
Oh, every team is always looking for guys, dude. It's 100%. It's so needed. Like, so one thing that humbled me so much, or that I look up to. So this weekend at St. Louis, at the end of the day, everybody was picking up. We were picking up, and Matt Fields was across from me. Now, I've seen Matt Field drift for a long time, and this dude shreds and he kills it.
Yeah.
And he's really high up there. You will say he's one of the top dogs. And this guy was picking up his own, you know, like rig, like helping pick up and organize.
Yeah.
So for you to be at a professional level drifting, or a professional level of any motorsports or anything in the world, like anything professional level, and you're still picking up and helping out and doing all that, man, it's like, that's crazy. Like it's, you get to this guy level and he's still doing that. That is the commitment that you see that you have to have in order to be able to do this. So, you know, shout out Matt Field. He's like, I look up to him, and I look up to a bunch of guys in the drifting community. It's like the amount of work and blood and sweat that they go through. It's amazing. Like it fuels you to be a better person and try to do the good things that they're doing, for sure.
Yeah. And like this weekend, Swan even said, it wasn't Matt Field, but Forsberg was on stage, they were doing that little karaoke thing. That's hilarious, dude. If you haven't seen any of those videos, go watch some of those.
Dude, I saw Nick.
Dude, yeah, they had to have been so wasted.
Oh my god, that was.
But he said when he brought Forsberg on stage, like, or no, this was Hurt that said this. Sorry, Hurt said this. Drifting wouldn't be anywhere near what it is without Forsberg and what he's done for drifting. Matt Field's the same way. I don't quite agree with the way he drives sometimes. It's just, it seems unorthodox, like major flicks that don't seem necessary. That's besides the fact.
It might be a Corvette.
Matt Field is yeah, that is true. That is true. Corvettes do just drive like that.
Or Corvettes on that grip level.
Yeah. Great driver. Not knocking his driving. But he's the same way. Drifting wouldn't be anywhere near what it is without him too, because he's one of those OGs that really paved the way for a lot of the how you get sponsorships or how you should run an FD program or like how a car setup should be, or like they've paved paths in ways that most of us couldn't even imagine recognizing, for one. So I agree with that a lot. It's very, I guess, important to know.
Yeah, I think everybody in the community, even at the top level, dude, everybody's doing a lot for the community.
Yeah.
It's what we need to do to grow it. I think it's, dude, like 30, 40 years from now, FD will be like at F1 level. Like guaranteed, 100%. Yeah,
they kind of seem a little stagnant right now.
It's it's like everything, but it's just so young, and it's like for people to understand. Once they understand and they know what's going on, then they get drawn into it. But it's like when you watch a show in the middle of the season, you don't know what's going on. That show sucks because you don't know the backstory or the back end or what's going on. Same thing happens. Like, I don't know how familiar you are with baseball.
I played baseball growing up.
Okay, if you think about baseball, oh, there you go.
You can't see it, but it's like an old shadow box thing with an old jersey and shit.
So you know the rules of baseball because you grew up in it.
Yeah.
But if you were to erase your mind about baseball,
I've thought about that a lot.
You're like, oh, you bat, and then you have to run to that right base and then to second, but not if the guy catches it on the air.
Yeah.
But it's so many things that
down.
Press something on the computer.
Hold on. Goddamn cats.
It's all good.
But yeah, no, I totally get that. I used to like sit at games and stuff and like try and visualize what that would feel like, not knowing a fucking clue. Like, why is this dude standing over here just swinging a bat when there's another guy at the plate?
Yeah, and it's so hard
being in the batter's box.
Yeah, I grew up watching and playing baseball myself. My dad wanted me to be a pro player. It's like, but it's one of those things, dude. Imagine if baseball was just starting out in 2004 the same way drifting did.
True.
It'll be like, I don't think baseball will be as big as FD is now. Yeah. If they would have started, we
need one Fortune 500 company to just go all in on a driver or a series or something, and then I think that'll start the trickle effect of other companies.
Yeah, and it's time. Even if that were to happen, the timing factor, because of that not knowing what's happening. I talk to a lot of fans that go through like the booth and stuff, that I like to see what they say, and especially the ones that it's the first time going.
Yeah.
And everybody tells me the same things. Like, I don't know what's going on.
This is so confusing.
Yeah. It's fun.
Well, do you ask them though, like what would help make it more understandable? Or
it's kind of like, I don't, because it's a hard question.
It's not your responsibility.
No, not at all. Because I tell them everything. But it's one of those things, like, it's just time. That's what everybody needs. It just needs time to learn and just keep watching it over and over.
Yeah.
And racing is a lot easier. It's just everybody knows that you got to get there first.
Yeah.
Drifting is like baseball. You got to know all these little rules outside of stuff. That I feel is what makes it difficult for it to get to the next phase. Yeah. But it's growing, dude. Like, the amount of people that you see on social media, like, just jumping into it or showing up. Or, dude, most of the people that I talk to on my booth, it's first timers that they've never been to a round before. Yeah, and that's so awesome. Like, it's like, we want to give those people the best time of their life, so they keep coming back.
Oh yeah. Dude, at Import Alliance a couple weekends ago, I was I was there to do ride-alongs for Import Alliance. Every single person that rode was a first-timer. Never been to a drift event, never been in a drift car. I was like, what the fuck?
And that's
This is nuts.
Yeah, and that's what fuels the growth, dude. Because that guy that took that lap, now he wants to do it himself.
Yeah.
So he goes and tries to get a sim because that's the most
I had
attainable
multiple
thing.
people be like, "Oh fuck, I'm screwed now." I'm like,
If
"Yeah,
they-
you are, buddy."
If they hear about it, because a lot of people don't even know that they could drift in a computer, for fun, or they'll just go look for a drifting video game or whatnot, and you see the commercials of the video games; they're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
So that's the first.
Hell, they're
step.
making it to like actual commercials, like NOS Energy and all like these bigger outside of drifting companies.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's growing.
For sure.
We're getting there. And again, the Sorsons, they're helping tremendously with that. Having the Air Force in is fucking crazy, dude.
It might happen overnight, but if I had to bet on it, I'll bet against it because it's like I said, it's time. We just need the time, and it's kind of like, I don't know if you're familiar with F1, how much they grew in the U.S. in the past 5 years, and it was all because of that.
Familiar, yeah.
So it was mostly because of the Netflix show. Like everybody started watching. Yeah, dude.
Dude, I've been saying that if we can get our asses on fucking Netflix somehow, it'll be a cakewalk. We'll be good.
But the thing is, you can't repeat what's already happened, or in this types of like viral stuff. A viral video comes up, you replicate it, it's not gonna be the same effect, unfortunately. But
I wish they would have done the Gran Turismo movie
on the drifting
side though.
Yeah. That's something that
would
could
have been
happen.
extremely like intriguing to people, I feel like.
Yeah, that's actually a really good idea. So TV producers,
Hollywood,
do a drift video, being a drift movie. It's nothing's being on ever since Tokyo Drift, man.
Yeah.
It's like, and there is a big community. It's definitely, you make an action movie, throw a big budget at it. It's gonna be fun. It'll be, it'll be nice. And whoever's the main actor is probably doesn't drift, but he'll end up drifting after.
Yeah.
Like that'll be so cool.
Oh,
Definitely.
so good. Okay, well, speaking of sustainability and stuff, when you finally got the Corvette, like you transferred from a 370Z to a Corvette, was around the clutch kickers time?
Yes. Yeah.
Is that a big push to why you got that before we get into the clutch kickers thing?
In a way, I was learning, I was starting out. I knew I wasn't going to be too competitive. It's funny because I was doing everything wrong, man. Like I had no one to talk to or go with me to the events. So I remember my first clutch kickers that I did. It was really cool that there were pro guys there.
Yeah.
And it was me that I've been driving for like 9 months.
A very humbling experience, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure. And it's funny because obviously budget was like, I couldn't afford to do this. So I had a bunch of different tire brands. And so my practice was in one brand. And then that's back when the Achilles 123Ss were on.
Yeah.
But I remember.
Holy shit, I forgot about those.
Yeah, dude.
I ain't seen those in forever.
It was 100. I remember I paid like $130 a tire. So it was $260. And I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to use when I go to comp. But then one pair. So I used a bunch of different tires for practice. I ran through everything, and then come my qualifying, I don't have any tires. So I'm like, okay, I gotta put the Achilles. Hopefully they last.
Oh god,
dude, it was like my first qualifying ever, and I remember the grip on those tires. I just shallow the whole thing everywhere. It was horrible, man. It was so horrible. But it's one of those things that you have guys nowadays on Pro-Am doing the same thing.
Oh yeah.
Guys everywhere. Well, maybe not on Prospect or Pro, but on the smaller level, because they don't know any better. It's like it is what it is. Everybody makes.
That's why I try to say all the time, save the money and it's not even it's spend the money. Go ahead and get the better tires now. That way, because it's just gonna set you up better in the long run. If it's your first event or two, go get whatever scrubs you can and just go drive. You're not gonna go through enough tires anyways. So
That's another mistake I did. I was getting $10 tires and having 20 different wheels.
yep.
Instead of buying the new tires. And
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how much you say it. Like, people are not going to believe it they do it themselves.
Yeah.
It is.
It took me until I delaminated 6 tires within, I think it was like an hour and a half at Mid Pond one time. But a bunch of mile stars. Just hot lapping. They delammed in a couple laps, and I was fucking pissed. My day was done. But yeah, be smart. Buy the good tires. Save your ass in the long run. You'll get more seat time. But yeah, the whole point of me bringing that up was the clutch kicker stuff. Like, what's your thoughts on it coming back? Like,
it's awesome, dude. It's well, the vet that I'm running in Prospect, that is the clutch kickers vet.
Yeah.
So it's
this used to be Kevlar, right? Or is it still carbon Kevlar?
It's still carbon Kevlar. We just painted it with the
cool.
design this year. But before that, it used to be like the white body kit that.
Yeah,
massive wheels,
raw carbon showing through and shit. I like that look. It looks really cool.
It was cool, but it was like you had to run like 2-inch spacers for it to look decent and whatnot. And
Jesus.
And the thing about fiberglass, you hit it once and it's just like
it explodes.
So even though we went into the carbon Kevlar jump, it was like the best investment I've ever made because that thing has had so many bangs with everything, and it still holds.
Just
like,
takes it all.
Takes it. So it's like you're paying 4 or 5 times the price, but you're getting 20 times.
Yeah.
Like if you would have bought the same thing 20 times in fiberglass, you know. I mean, there's a video that everybody used to call me for, like the front bumper guy what do you call this? In Sebring, one of the pro-am runs. I got hit, so the car wouldn't drive, and the bumper was like falling off.
Yeah.
And the guy comes and he just rips off the carbon Kevlar bumper. It was like the first day that I put it on, and then you hear me screaming like, "No, no, no!" He just rips it right off. And dude, we just patched it on the part where it caught, and that's the bumper I'm still running. Like
that's crazy. I do the KBD stuff. Obviously, I have no necessary need for carbon Kevlar. I'm not doing competition or anything like that. But the KBD is the same way, dog. It just takes every little bit of abuse. It's freaking great.
So KBD,
might be heavier,
dual C6, dude. Dual C6. Like my demo car needs some a lot. So it's like, bro, just doing for the
every
C6,
time I bring up KBD, there's someone that says, "Do this car, do this car, do this car."
But come on,
like,
Corvettes. Like everybody's
It's
running
hard.
them now. Like
I know, yeah.
You have to have, and not only everybody's running them now, everybody's competing in them now. So you know those are the guys that want them. Same as carbon Kevlar, dude. There's nobody really doing carbon Kevlar stuff in the U.S. like for Corvette. So we got to bring them overseas every time, and that adds up the costs like a lot. You know, shipping big bulky items. So yeah, dude, there's opportunities out there, man. Even if you don't know a thing about making, you know, body parts and stuff, there's tons of videos on YouTube on how to do it. Like if I had the time, I think that's like anybody that does like carbon Kevlar stuff for drifting are gonna blow up just because everybody needs it. You know, like it's absolutely necessary.
Yeah, and you'd be able to do it for a fairly cheap price here in the U.S. So
even if it's more
make it more valuable.
Yeah, even if it's more expensive, like I will pay 3 times as much as I pay for a fiberglass body panel, just because I know that it's gonna last way longer.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm telling you, dude. It's nowhere near carbon Kevlar, obviously, but the KBD shit, man, you buy it once and that's fucking it.
Look, now
it's lifetime warranty, dude.
Yeah,
on a car part that doesn't exist.
Yeah, right now on our pro car, we went underweight building it. My goal was to make that car the lightest possible.
I bet that was a good feeling.
So we ended under.
Yeah, we gotta put some bricks in this thing.
So we had to add like an extra 50 pounds, and it's something that like right now I can afford to take off carbon Kevlar body panels and put KBD in it. You know, like
that's crazy. So yeah,
it'll be awesome if I could do that because it would save me so much money. You know, for next year.
Irving.
So yeah, I probably spent a lot more like building the car that now I can afford to run a heavier body. But you know, we definitely need it.
That's crazy. Yeah. Hell yeah. Well, the clutch kicker stuff though, do you think, or sorry, let me rephrase this question. if it was your event, what would you change from previous years to them coming back to make this more sustainable?
Dude, that's so hard to say because I look up to the people that run events. It's so
Oh yeah,
difficult. Like,
especially Castleberry and all of them. They're great fucking people too.
yeah,
But it's just curiosity.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
everyone's got their own opinion on how they run a business and stuff.
yeah.
too, so.
It's and I'm very outspoken in like I don't know enough to
Mhm.
give a valid opinion. I could say maybe. It kind of sucks for the drivers, and probably everybody will hate me. Like, maybe if you lower the payout, might
Mhm.
help out if it's
Has
a,
to.
if it's a
Has to.
thing of like keeping it going for the money. The thing is like everybody sees that big number.
I
And that's
don't
what
think the
draws it.
drivers would be mad.
No,
I genuinely think they would be more ecstatic that they did that because they, in the back of their head, they know it's going to be more sustainable. Because, dude, whether people were winning at that event or not, that was a great event. Like, it was just, it's cool to be at. And I only went to a fun day, dude. And I got to drive and stuff, but I couldn't imagine an actual Clutch Kickers series event.
Yeah, so personally, I knew I couldn't win a Clutch Kickers event when I was starting out. But the reason I would do them is because of the amount of practice time I was getting. So it was I was paying for practice, which I was gonna pay anywhere else regardless. But this time I get to drive with pro guys and cool guys.
Yeah.
So to be honest, I don't think that lowering or at least for me or the small guys, when we come in there, not expecting to win, we just want to have seat time, practice on that track. So obviously, honestly, drifting has grown so much that if they do absolutely nothing different this time, it might still work or be sustainable. Like it's different than 2020, 2021. It's things are like I really think like there's a lot more guys driving. There's a lot more competitive driving.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people that are upset that they missed out on it as well.
Yeah.
And that have like a chip on their shoulder to come prove themselves and all that nonsense,
Yeah, definitely. I think it's like I said, the seat time as long as if they do a bunch of time, like the way they will run it 2 days or 3 days, so you could run the whole comp on like practice on Friday, then more practice on Saturday, run the comp, and then Sunday you can keep practicing on the track. So yeah, you're paying $600 to sign up, but you're getting 2 days of driving.
Yeah.
So
keeps more people on the track too doing 3 days.
Yeah.
Because then you have more downtime in between and nighttime to fix your shit if anything did happen.
For sure. I go to FD, man,
balance.
and I'm so happy. It's like it's a whole week, but I'm at the track. It's where I want to be. So it's like it's awesome. Like even if though we're working on the car and it's like I just drove the rig for 20 hours and I'm falling asleep and then the next day I gotta drive. It doesn't matter, man. It's I live for it and I think a lot of people feel the same way. Like most of the guys that are there are, they sacrifice so much to be there that where they want to be. It doesn't matter what you do to them. That's where they're gonna be.
Absolutely. God, that's awesome. Okay. Well, speaking of FD, dude, what is your all-time goal for FD? What are you trying to gain out of it?
So this comes into part like Sagnova's definitely helped me being where I'm at because even though I can't show the brand on the car, like I'm not allowed because it's not a sponsored tire.
Right.
It's still like putting the name out there, and it's like, look, that's the guy that brings the tires over. And even though we're covering it up, I feel like most people know anyway what's under it. And a lot of people ask us, it's like, why are you covering it up? So in a way, it's still good. Like it's allowing me to be at FD because it's a business that I'm growing.
Yeah.
And sponsorships it's really tough to get, even at this level, which is another thing that I feel it would get better as time goes on. And it comes back to the whole thing that I mentioned earlier of like, brands that see guys out there. Even though, sure, you could get the business from all the pro guys that are smaller and they don't have sponsorship. But it's, for example, in baseball, you see any baseball player, they get shoes, shirts. It's like Nike,
Yeah.
like you're already at the pro level, dude. Come on, like we want people to see you wearing our stuff. FD's not there yet, but it's something that I think it'll change very soon eventually, because you want to see the pro guys wearing your brands, you know. It's like, and why would you charge them? Like, you know, it's like, why would you make 30-40 bucks out of this guy when there's people that look up to them, and you know,
they'll buy it just because they're running.
Just because they're running it, exactly. So it's one of those things for companies out there that maybe are not familiar with FD, but once it grows and once it sees that there's a lot of guys that people are looking up to, you know, it'll start happening. So yeah, I got lost again.
Yeah, no, just like you're good. What's your whole goal with FD for you personally? And
see, my ADD
program?
is bad, man.
No, you're good, bro.
The only time it's good is when I'm driving, so that's why I do it.
Hey, it helps with podcasts because it brings up good topics.
For sure. So yeah, ultimate goal, dude, I want to go pro. Like, I am itching so bad, especially how I see that they're progressing and how every single round they're getting better and better. I feel like I'm missing out, because personally, if I don't go pro and I go against those guys, I feel like I'm not going to be able to develop to that level driving like prospect.
Okay.
Not saying like guys don't drive like that, but I feel like at the pro level, everybody's going 100% every single run. There's no more of like, oh no, be conservative, because it's like, no, dude, you can't leave it in the judge's hands. You have to go all in on that door every single time. And I'm itching so bad to be able to do that. Like, I just want to go all in every single lap. It's like what Chelsea says, you know, the way he drives.
Yeah.
It's cool to like be smart and drive conservative, but if everybody would just go all out every single battle, it'll be like a crazy show.
Fucking mayhem.
Yes, yes. And it comes down to like, yes, the grip levels are getting hard and hard, but it all comes back to the money in drifting. Like any other pro level series out there, you have guys, like professional guys, that their whole life is just practicing. So, you know, Monday through Friday, you hit the gym, you go practice, you know, run some laps, drift some laps, hit the sim. Like that should be the pro level drifter's life, to be able to put that better show. Because if you have to run a business Monday through Friday and maybe go drive Saturday, you know, do some practice, which I think most of the pro guys don't even do that. You know, they might run an event, like a practice session every 3 weeks or something like that.
Yeah.
So just being at the pro level and being able to afford a constant practice of everything, it'll make driving so amazing, and the battles will be insane. It's like,
oh yeah,
you know, and the guys that are doing it now, like if you see Connor, like he drives here, drives in Europe, and he's just constantly driving. Yeah, that's why he drives
James
like
Dean.
that. Yeah,
probably the most recognizable example of that.
That's they drive like that because of the amount of seat time that they get. Yeah. So trying to do that and not having the seat time, it's obviously extremely difficult. But it is what it is, man. We gotta fight for it. We gotta try to get the money to be able to do it. And I try to drive as much as possible. But yeah, my end goal is like, I really want to go pro because I want to see how far I can take it. Yeah. And it's kind of, it might sound stupid for some people. It's like, oh, you just got to prospect. But it's like I mentioned, dude, I feel like if I don't make that jump, I'm not going to learn. Yeah. By being, you know, not there yet.
Absolutely. I mean, even like you mentioned, prospect. There's people that are just dying to get their prospect license alone, and I couldn't even tell you how many times I've had people come up to me and not even understand the process of like how to even get a license for FD, which is crazy. But it's very like, it's one of those goals that are, I don't even know how to explain it. People have a lot of FOMO around it. I guess that's a way to explain it. That's terrible too. Whatever. Yeah, I don't know, but like you're making it seem like it's a very low level accomplishment when it's really not. Like the way you're saying it, I just want that to be reiterated because that is a huge accomplishment to even make it to prospect.
Yeah, and I'm sorry if I came out that way.
No, yeah, you're good. That's you humbling yourself, which is totally cool. I do it too, but I like to point it out.
Yeah, and dude, it's so funny because I 3 years ago, I would not expect me to be here, and I owe it to the guys in the community that pushed me, and like Duarte from Drift HQ, he was like my main like mentor, and he's my spotter now, which is so awesome. Like I get a
Really
dude like
good dude.
that. And he's the one that told me when I was doing the racing thing. It's funny because he went to watch one of the races and it's like, dude, this is so boring. There's nobody here. It's like, yeah, like racing, we don't get a lot of, people coming over and watching. But he's like, just go drift. You drive well. You can do it. Like you can win.
Yeah.
And right after he told me that, so I think that time that he went, I had won my, the racing Sebring. And then the next weekend I had, or there was Pro-Am, the series, like the US Drift. That was back in 22. And I'm like, yeah, I'll sign up just for fun. But I wasn't in the points or anything. And I end up winning that round right after Duarte tells me this. And, I was like, dude, like I can do this too.
Yeah.
And that's when I said, it's like, okay, like next year, like if I don't get a good offer in the grip side of things, I'll just go for drifting.
Yeah,
and
just all in.
See what not even all in, just go for fun. Like same thing, because again, I did not expect to win the championship on my first year trying it.
True. Yeah. Yeah.
And so I was gonna do everything I could, but I wasn't gonna like spend all my money to get there. But
Yeah.
And then after that happened, I was still reluctant of like going. And then we got like Henry, like Drift Gang Henry. He was pushing me too, of like, dude, you can do it. You have the resources. Go for it. And so it was one of those things that if it wasn't for these guys pushing me to do it, I'm very reserved in the sense like I can't justify it to myself to spend all this money when I have a family to take care of.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So, which is why when the Segnova thing happened, it was like the push for me to do it, because now it's the business that I'm growing because of it.
Yeah.
Allows me to do this. And without it, I don't think I'll be doing prospect or trying to go pro as much as I'm, all in invested on it now. I had my previous company, I got off of it to grow this because I knew I needed to dedicate 100% of my time for it.
Yeah.
So I just assigned somebody else to run it, and someone that I thought could do it. It kind of hurts me because obviously nothing's gonna be run the way it's your baby. Like you're gonna run it the best way that you can. But this is what I love, and I'm not taking anything away from my family to be able to do it. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go all in, see how far we can get to it, and at the same time, we're growing a business from it, which is what's allowing me to be able to do it.
Awesome. Well, with all of that knowledge and experience and stuff, what advice would you give to someone that wants to take the FD journey and really go all in? Like, what's that one key advice?
I think it goes back to what I said, like, don't dig yourself in a hole because of it. You can still be in it until you find a way or a road that you can take that could be sustainable and you'll be able to afford it. Whether it is your YouTube channel that you're growing, or you're actually getting sponsorships, or a company that you're building. What I did when I was growing, I've wanted to be a race car driver my whole life,
Yeah.
I'm 35 now. I'm old. Like now is when I was able to do it. But because I always had it in the back of my head, it's like, I need to take care of my family first before I can go venture into these things. Because I'm not going to go homeless because of my dream. Because obviously I say that this is my number one priority, but my family is my number one priority, obviously.
Right.
I don't even have to say it. But in career goals, this is my number one priority as of now. So anybody that wants to take the FD road, I definitely think sponsors are going to come. Like there's going to be a lot more money in it, and it's going to become what F1 is. And you're seeing it with like Hero, bro. 14-year-old kid, pro, and he's killing it.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, like when you're starting to see that in a series, that's what makes you think like they're breeding guys for that. Same way as F1, you look at the F1 field and there's not a single that guy in that field that started driving when he was 20 or 15.
True.
Everybody
yeah.
started at 6, 7 years old, even younger. So, which is what happened with Hero. You know, their parents were drifters, and their son was born, and they made him into what he is today. Obviously, there's tons of things that happen. Like the kid has to love it, and you know, he might be grotesque about it because of how much he was introduced to it at first. But if he doesn't, then it'll become like Max Verstappen, what he's doing with F1, you know.
Oh yeah,
everything.
Yeah, and especially you get them in that young, they don't even have the fear factor yet. So like it's all just a live video game to them half the time. It's
So everything, all the signs are pointing to it. You know, you're getting these young kids coming in, and we're gonna be the grandpas. That we're gonna be like, damn, my
sport.
Yeah, like my reflexes are not as fast. And it is what it is. That's why I feel like if I don't do this now, it's never gonna happen for me. Like I have to rush it. I have to rush through it as fast as possible, because it's true. Reflexes, they die, man. Like I'm probably on my exiting part of my life, and it's gonna get to a point that it's gonna be so competitive that without it you won't be able to do it. Like be like Fernando Alonso in F1. You know, he's 40 something and he's still doing it because he loves it.
Yeah.
But his reflexes are not there. You know, like they're still better than 99% of the population.
Oh, yeah.
But you put him against
the field of audience.
Yeah, you put him against a 17-year-old kid, he's handicapped.
That's crazy.
It is what it is.
Damn. Hell yeah. All right. Well, I guess, do you ever see yourself like kind of doing what Josiah from FDF does and running maybe a Drift Master series too along with the program?
Oh, that would be a dream. Like I look up to Josiah.
Yeah.
The way that the amount of work that guy does is insane. Like and yeah, dude, I would love to run FD, Drift Masters, and all the Prime series that I could get my hands on.
Just roll around the world.
Like, if I could have a team set up at every event, like, I'll drive every event that I can. It's,
hell yeah.
And if I can get to that level, it'll be a dream come true. Even though I'm already living a dream, really. It's 10 years ago, I would never have thought in a million years that I'll be doing what I'm doing today.
Hell yeah. When that moment happens finally and you remember this, come back to this podcast, clip this moment, and there's your content.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
I did it, motherfucker.
Yeah, it's you know, hopefully I can get to that. But even if I don't, I'm enjoying every single bit of what I'm doing now. And being able to take my family up to the events, right? Now that they're in summer and they're out of school and they can come with me, dude, it's awesome because it's not like, oh, I have my kids at home that I miss them so much when I'm on the road. And me and my wife were thinking of like maybe we just put them on what do you call this? Like outside of school.
Homeschool?
Homeschool, yeah. So they can be on the road with us. So we'll see. It's just like, it kind of sucks.
That's what my buddy Andy does.
Yeah.
Andy May.
Yeah, I've been talking to a bunch of people. It's just kind of like, I don't want to rub them off that, you know, growing up on school with friends.
Yeah.
I did it, and I had some bad experiences. Like, they get bullied and stuff.
I hated it, dude. I hated high school.
But there were some good experiences too, you know? So, and I feel like even, like, I got bullied, and it grew to me what I am today. I think, like, it just helped my problem-solving skills.
I agree. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
And all you I've seen some of you motherfuckers from high school following and shit. Fuck all of you. You all suck.
Yeah, but it made you what you are today, dude. So it's one of those things that you think that they were hurting you, but they were helping you, man.
Absolutely.
And it's like, so it is what it is, man. Like, and that's why when I see kids getting like they're not part of anything, I try to bring them along because it kind of helps. Like,
give them some sense of purpose.
Yeah, and it's something like they might be like, oh man, even though this is hard, this guy still helped out. So
yeah,
it is what it is. Try to help people out. Don't bully them.
Absolutely,
like,
dude.
Even if you bully them, help them after. Because
well, I'll say there are certain cases where bullying is needed. Bring back bullying in those cases.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna go into specifics. A lot of you guys could probably tell what I'm talking about. Bullying's good sometimes.
Yeah, it's
a necessity that kids need because, especially in men, dude, competitive nature is a priority for boys. Like absolute that we don't have to go deep into all that stuff.
Yeah, it's
but,
part of life. It's
Yeah.
tough. Like it kind of sucks to say, yeah, just bully. But when I see it on my kids, like they getting messed up, it like
Yeah.
breaks your heart. Dude, it's tough. I don't know. You need to run some data sheets and see what's
Yeah.
for population. What is better? But yeah, we don't have the answers. I'm sorry, guys.
So funny. Oh my god. What was the point of that? What were we fucking talking about, dude? Damn it.
This is what happens when you put two ADD guys together in a conversation.
I'm not diagnosed ADD, but god damn it, I've got to have it.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, all right. Well, I guess this is probably a pretty long one. What are we at? Oh yeah, we're almost at 2 hours. All right. Well, let's do this. Okay. So with all the knowledge that you've kind of gained over the years, and especially being in Prospect now, if you were to go back in time with the knowledge you have and build a seat time car to get started in drifting, what car would it be? And what parts would you go on to like Injuku and buy for the car to get to those first events?
I think I would. 350Z is probably the cheapest option available and the most reliable. And in terms of parts, whatever you feel you need to go up to the next level. But if you're not at that level yet, do not buy a single thing because you need to understand and know that you need that part and then get it.
And why? Yeah.
And why. Yeah.
That's good. The Z would be probably one of the only options to be able to do that as far as like chassis. Because like a Z is so set up for maybe a Corvette too, other than the angle. But like most cars, you are going to have to do some stuff to it so that you don't just destroy it. Like a BMW, you're going to you want to reinforce
it's a lot,
all that stuff.
That's why I said Z's. I think the only thing that's going to die on you first is the slave. Like you have to do the external slave on the tranny.
For the Z?
Yeah.
They're already external.
They're already also the 370 because I started with 370Z.
Oh, the 370s aren't.
Yeah.
Are they?
Yeah, because it's the first thing I had to do to that car.
That's so
well, apart
stupid.
from like disabling the nannies and stuff.
Wow. My RB is external too.
Yeah,
it was man, it's the best thing ever.
That's when I learned that they were internal slaves.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, that's definitely.
If you're new and don't know what we're talking about, internal slave is you got to pull the trans. It's
a
pain in the ass.
Yeah, on the Corvettes you still have to. You always run internal slave. You can't.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah, all the LS stuff, T56 crap.
Yeah, but yeah, for sure, Z is the cheapest option and the most reliable you're gonna get to begin with. Corvettes are really reliable too, but then it's a lot more expensive to get something.
Okay. Well then, let me ask you this then. What were some of the parts that you found helped you a lot when you first started upgrading stuff?
Luckily, when I started, I watching videos, and I used to watch a lot of Aaron, like Lone Star Drift.
Yeah.
And yeah, they'll always talk about like don't do anything. They just learn to drive the car the way it is and upgrade stuff as you need it. So the first thing that I did on my Z, I didn't get a hydro until later, but I did get an angle kit. And
I wish I would have waited on my hydro.
I drove like that for a while. Actually, I probably drove like 2 events, and then I was like, I'm ready for a hydro.
Yeah.
And then
which is about right.
Yeah. Because then you start doing tandem, and when you're tandeming, you kind of want to have it when you're following.
Don't get discouraged if you don't get it in 2 events either. Just want to say that.
Yeah, it's like and nowadays, dude, I try to drive without touching the damn thing.
Yeah.
But sometimes it just happens automatically. I review my footage and I'm like, why
I do it too. Yeah.
But especially for vets, dude, it's so hard to get them to slide. Like side bite, it's like tough on them. So you need to give them that extra push with the hydro.
You gotta sit on it. Hell yeah. All right. Well, I guess then what would your best piece of advice be to anyone just getting into drifting in general?
I would say invest on a sim, dude. It's the
dude, that's been the going answer.
Yeah.
Here recently.
It's like even though I don't drive sim much drifting, because I feel
I don't even have one, as you can tell. It's not easy.
Yeah, I feel like I started doing things on the sim that I don't do in real life. and that I shouldn't be doing in real life. So
You didn't have the fear.
yeah, or not necessarily that. It's just like the way it's not the same. Like the setup, it's completely different.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like staying on throttle, I can't do that in the same. Like you have to like ease in and out. With in real life, that's all I try to do because that's how you get the best lap that you can do.
Yeah.
And I get bitched at by like Sam, the guy that Sam and Freddie from Spectrum, the guys that look at
Oh,
the tools
yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff. It's like, why are you lifting there? Stop lifting.
You pussy.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, that's like invest in a sim. It's gonna get you so many laps. At least when you're starting out, when you have no clue how to drift, no idea how to drive, it's gonna save you, I would say, like 20 grand, bro. Like,
Oh,
easy.
yeah. And you from possibly wadding your car up and having to spend another 20 grand to even fix everything.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, same. Learn to drift there. Once you're good, then go for the car. But in the meantime, it'll save you so much money.
Good answer. I dig that. All right. Well, this is a heavy hitter. Just so you know, most people is shocks. All right. If you had the opportunity to speak to the entire world, what would your one message be?
Oh wow, that is a heavy hitter. Ah man,
Anything, life, anything.
Yeah, like work hard and be good to people, dude. I think that's like that's what I live by, and you know, I think that's it. Like, if everybody did that, we'll be such a better society.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, cool. Well, I just want to say I really appreciate you making the trip down and coming to hang out, shoot a podcast with me.
Thank you for having me. It's really cool that you guys invited me, and it's awesome to be here. Really.
Absolutely, dude. You're welcome anytime. Maybe next time I'll catch you at a round or something. We'll do one there and kind of do a follow up.
Yeah, for sure. I would love to.
And let me know what. Oh, damn, this camera shut off. Right here, baby. Let me know if there's anybody out there that you specifically want to see on the podcast very soon. If anything has happened within the industry recently that you are really fond of, let me know. Drop it in the comments. Tag that person. Yell at them. Tell them to come on the podcast. Whatever you want to do. I don't care. Just don't be a dick, people. Like he's just said, be nice. But yeah, if you want to like shout out yourself or anyone or
yeah, dude, my wife, I left them at the hotel, and my kids, they're with me the whole season. It's awesome. My team, Sam, Simba, Henry, Duarte. I'm gonna leave some people out now. Vince, he stayed home working on the car. Thank you guys. Like, you really wouldn't be able to do this without you. So I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Shout out to you guys, and shout out to the audience out there too watching.
Oh, Freddie will kill me if I don't mention.
Yeah. Dude, you just mentioned his name before that too. How could you forget?
Dude,
well, there you go. Actually, I need to get my cartoon too. Speaking of Freddie, that reminds me. Anyways, yeah. So that's pretty much all we got for this one. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate you again. Don't forget, hit the subscribe button below the video, especially if it's still red. Hit the bell notification. And, I wanted to mention this. So since probably a lot of the guys that are still here listening on the podcast this late in the episode, you guys are the OGs, so I want to ask you instead of in the beginning with all the random people. But is there anything wild that you guys would want to see with this podcast? I have a couple ideas that I'm spinning around with. One possibly being like a on-grid podcast in the car, like crazy mic setups, GoPros all around. Just
can I give you one?
Yeah,
wall drifting.
Wall drifting.
Yeah, try to have them talk while drifting.
Like, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah,
have them have helmets specific with mics already built in and stuff. Yeah, dude, and just have conversation with them while drifting for one. Because the wind noise won't be that bad. It'll be inside your helmet. And then you'll have GoPros all around.
If it's a wet surface that you can just do lap after lap.
Oh, yeah,
that would be insane. Like,
and then conversation while we're sitting in line waiting. Like, holy fuck, did you see? Get people's like raw reaction.
And ask the hard questions when you're actually drifting. Because that's kind of cool that to see how your mind works while they're doing something that you need a lot of inputs, and at the same
That
time
is
you got to think
true.
of an answer. You might get guys that are like drunk.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know,
Oh, yeah.
like drunk talking.
There was this one girl that rode along at Import Alliance, and she, as we were rolling up to the line, she was like, this is the first time, if I scream the entire time, I'm really sorry. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever, I don't care. And she was not joking. I heard her scream almost the entire time while we were
That's
driving.
awesome.
Barely heard my car. Even after I shut it down, she was still screaming. I'm like, you good? She's like, yeah, I'm good. That was amazing.
That's awesome.
It's like, okay, I feel like I just killed you or something, whatever. But yeah, let me know if you guys have any cool things that you want to see me do with this podcast. And yeah, that's all I got. But links to everything you'll probably need are always in the description. And I know this was a very long-winded outro, but love you guys anyways. You guys rock. Really appreciate it. I'll see you each and every Sunday for a brand new episode.
Stacking way up to the ceiling. Trust no bitch, can't catch no feelings. I've been taking long flights from the Bay to Ibiza. Hit home runs, I'm a ball like Jeter. I just want fuck, then I leave her. I'm a young pop star, call the boy Justin Bieber. Got a little money if you want, I can teach you. Whole life a movie, you can watch it in theater. Stacking way up to the ceiling. Trust no bitch, can't catch no feelings. I've been taking long flights from the Bay to Ibiza. Hit home runs, I'm a ball like Jeter. I just want fuck, then I leave her. I'm a young pop star, call the boy Justin Bieber. Got a little money if you want, I can teach you. Whole life a movie, you can watch it in theater. We in the bag of the band, shit like a sauna, she working a sweat. Told her come over, bring her and her friend. Put her to work, gotta earn in the rent. Fucking so good, you should pay me for. Fucking so good, you should pay me for sex. Ain't one for relations, on to the next. Can't let a hoe go and fuck up a check. Two-tone, I like my women in two tones. Never get caught, I got two phones. Maybach Mercedes, the roof gone. New whip push to start it. Whole whip aftermarket. Chain in my neck look flawless. Never too much money, I got Stacking way up to the ceiling. Trust no bitch, can't catch no feelings. I've been taking long flights from the Bay to Ibiza. Hit home runs, I'm a ball like Jeter. I just want fuck, then I leave her. I'm a young pop star, call the boy Justin Bieber. Got a little money if you want, I can teach you. Whole life a movie.